Hey, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo. Welcome to the channel and welcome to this brand new JJ's One Man Podcast. There's been a lot of weird things going on in the games industry and in entertainment in general lately over the last, I want to say, week or so. A lot of different things happening all over the place. But before we get into that, make sure you guys leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's a whole bunch of great content on the channel now, including new podcasts, new gameplay videos, and a whole bunch of other stuff, especially YouTube shorts, by the way, that I know that you would really like. So check it out. Show some love when you can. It helps out the channel immensely. But let's get into some of these big topics that have been going on with gaming, with entertainment, etc. So the biggest one right now that at least is relevant to us, we have to talk about what's been going on with Knights of the Old Republic Remake. KOTOR Remake, if you didn't already know, was planned at one point with Aspire Media and then possibly over at Saber Interactive to get a remake of the legendary Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic RPG that was originally developed by BioWare. This game is like top 10, like top 3 arguably for a lot of people when it comes to Star Wars games, as well as also for RPGs in general. This was like one of the big RPGs of the original Xbox era that helped make that console worth getting for a lot of people. But regardless, we were going to be getting a remake of this game. And it seems like now, according to a couple different things people have been noticing, that we might be inbound, or at least, expecting an announcement officially coming from Embracer Group, which is the primary, owner of, I want to say, Aspire Media and a few other different studios. We might be expecting them to come out and say that KOTOR Remake is canceled. Now, the reason why I say this and why people are starting to believe that is because over the last few days, I'm saying maybe at the start of the weekend, people started to notice that Aspire Media's trailer for KOTOR Remake, which was the announcement trailer from the PlayStation State of Play a while back, I want to say about maybe a year or two ago, they actually, pulled down, or I even really shouldn't say pulled down, they privatized the trailer on the official PlayStation account. And then in addition to that, PlayStation went and deleted all the various tweets that were related to the KOTOR Remake. So everything that was sharing the trailer, talking about the game itself, I think even maybe a couple stuff about Aspire Media themselves. Pretty much they've been going around scrubbing out some of those different things related to that game. Now, this is not a good sign. I mean, there's no other way to really put this. But let me also say that there was a follow-up, an update that actually came from Sony themselves. They came out and made a statement. I believe it was to Kotaku, and I think they also told IGN that they said where their license for some of the music in that trailer had expired, and it's just part of normal business practices. Now, like myself, many other people are looking at this and get the hell out of here. That sounds like total BS. That sounds like nonsense. It sounds like, you're trying to skirt away from actually coming out and just ripping off the Band-Aid for a lot of people. I mean, if they really wanted to, Sony or any other big company like Embracer Group, really wanted to make sure that people understood that this game was still coming, they would still make a statement that was a lot better than that. Because I'm pretty sure they have the resources to pay for the licenses to actually keep that trailer around, whether it was for music or anything else. I think there's a couple things to this that some people have mentioned in other podcasts. I believe this came from Mr. Matty Plays over on Defining Duke. At least that might have been the first time I heard it, but I know I've heard it in a couple other places. I really think that because of what happened with Aspire Media, which we don't know for certain what it was, I think that they lost the full Star Wars license in order to make Star Wars games. I think that whatever happened behind the scenes, that big blow up that happened to Aspire Media when they showed the first vertical slice of the game for KOTOR Remake over to PlayStation, over to Lucasfilm, probably Disney as well, and maybe some of their higher ups at Embracer Group, I think that the fallout from that was so bad that not only did it affect them with the KOTOR Remake, that they probably took the entire project away from them. They took the license away for Star Wars, meaning that all that stuff that was going on with the KOTOR 2 release, with all the, the restored content DLC that was promised a while back, that was, I believe, the main reason why we're not getting that and why that was canceled. And they just haven't come out and said it officially. There's been a couple things in relation to that anyway, where some people close to the project have said that, look, it wasn't Aspire Media's fault and nothing to do with them per se. It has everything to do with these other things, and they just didn't elaborate on it. I really believe that to be the case, and I know Mr. Matty Plays came out and said it, that they probably lost the full license for Star Wars. And that sucks because I believe Embracer Group, and I'm pretty sure PlayStation understands the positive response that reveal trailer got from everybody. People want this game. There's no ifs, ands, whats, or buts about it. People want KOTOR Remake. They want to play Knights of the Old Republic because that game was dope. And a lot of things about the original game haven't aged all that well, even with some of the re-releases, like the HD re-release of that game on the Switch. And that's fine and dandy, but people really want a modernized take on Knights of the Old Republic, giving it fresh new graphics, from modern day for like PlayStation 5, adjusting a couple things quality of life wise to the gameplay with the combat and stuff. People want that. So it's a shame to see that whether it's Embracer Group, whether it's PlayStation themselves, Sony, or anybody else over at Lucasfilm that are just like either dragging their feet or just straight up just not pursuing this the way that they should be. Because I'm telling you, even myself, I really want to play this game. Like, I'm hyped up for that. And it sucks because I don't think there's any other way to get around this. And I think that the more that they just don't be honest with a lot of the people out here on social media in general and just come on and say, like, look, we're just decided that we're shelving this and we're not going to move forward with it, I think a lot more people would have a lot more respect for them, PlayStation or Embracer Group, and they would probably just be able to move on a little bit easier rather than just having this like lingering feeling of hope that it might be dangling over us that this game might get made. And it's just, again, it's just not looking good. We haven't gotten any like significant updates about the project. The only last big update we got outside of like the CEO talking about this was that the project was transferred over to Saber Interactive. Saber Interactive, if you guys don't know, they were originally one of the people that was going to work on, I believe they were going to work on Final Fantasy VII Remake at one point before Square Enix took it back in-house, which I think was the right move. But Saber Interactive, they've done other games in the past, and it would have been nice to at least see them attempt to do this. At least, they have a shot at making it happen. But still, this is a damn shame, and it sucks. So hopefully within the next week or two, if not a little bit longer, somebody blows the lid out of this story. Maybe someone like Jason Schreier will get some sources over there. I know he's been talking about this stuff for like the last couple of years, ever since they first announced it. He was actually the first one over on Bloomberg to break a lot of the information about what was going on with Aspire and what had happened behind the scenes. And he just hasn't like been able to get other details about it, which I think he's probably going to be the first one that actually talks about it when it actually comes out, what exactly happens with this game. But either way, a couple other things to dive into besides Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Remake. Let's talk about Mortal Kombat 1 again. And the reason why we're talking about it is because the game is having some significant problems online. Now, the big thing that everybody's been pointing to is the whole player 1 advantage over player 2. If you don't know what this is, like the Cliff Notes version of it is basically that player 1 or whoever is playing player 1 and whatever character that you're playing as, you have access and you have the ability to land more combos a lot easier than player 2 does, whether it's offline or online. And why this is significant is because people that are playing the exact same character, doing the exact same movements, player 2, for whatever reason, just can't connect certain moves. And that sucks because that completely makes an imbalance to all the matchups of the entire game. Now, for most people, if you're playing like single player stuff, if you're playing against a friend at home or whatever, and playing matches that don't really matter, that they're not super competitive, none of that is going to be a big deal. Same thing with invasion mode. None of that really comes into play. But if you're going online, right, and you're playing against other people in ranked matches or even just casual matches, or if you're playing in a competitive setting like a tournament, online or offline, that's when it matters. That's when like a lot of people start to get really upset and really annoyed because outside of not having like the crossplay features, which was originally promised at launch, but they had to delay it because they just weren't going to have it ready by the time the game came out, this really significantly impacts the competitive scene. And there have been tournaments already from MK1, and there's no way to tell if any of this stuff really became a factor in a lot of those matches that played out. So Ed Boon did come out and say that they're working on it. They're actually making things happen. They're trying to actually fix everything up as best they can. It's going to take them some time because I don't think this was something they really anticipated. I don't think this was something that they planned for or at least, knew about beforehand. It kind of just pops up because, in game development and a lot of game releases, you're always going to find bugs and glitches that you don't really catch the first couple of hundred times when you're actually having it in development before release. There's always going to be that one person that discovers something you never thought of or you never came across. As is the case with a lot of other releases, especially a big example of this would be Starfield that happened right before Mortal Kombat 1 came out. So there's a lot of things going on with that. I'm hoping that Ed Boon and NetherRealm really fix this up very soon, or at least they release some sort of patch that addresses a lot of these concerns and also get the crossplay feature out there because I've gotten the game on PlayStation 5. I know a couple of friends that have gotten it on PC and also on Xbox Series X. So I definitely want to be able to play with them when I can, so that way we all at least, have our own platforms, but are still able to play the game and enjoy the game together. So that's hopefully a thing that'll get addressed very soon. Now, not much of a lot of other things going on with gaming. There's more stuff happening with movies. with stuff going on with the WGA strikes, which that seems to be over at this point. And now we're just waiting for SAG-AFTRA to kind of get their stuff in line, or at least have things figured out with them. And we might be getting back to normalcy with a lot of the stuff going on with the Hollywood movie industry. So we might be hearing more about big movies like Deadpool 3, anything else going on with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hopefully DC, because DC with James Gunn, I'm telling you, this whole debacle with DC has been like a confusing cluster. Like everything about it is just all over the place. Like I just don't get how, things could be so confusing for so long with James Gunn and what he's doing with DC right now. I think it's a shame because he recently came out and made a statement that everything before the release of Creature Commandos and Superman Legacy is not going to be considered canon to the new DC universe, which is what we all kind of figured out long before. But it's a damn shame because remember, Aquaman 2 is still coming out. We just had Blue Beetle. So none of that stuff really matters. Same thing with The Flash. None of that matters. All this stuff is pretty much just dead in the water. And it's a darn shame because I feel bad for DC fans. Like I feel like a lot of you that are diehard DC fans or even just superhero movie fans in general, y'all have been riding out for a lot of this stuff and through all the thick and thin of what's been happening with James Gunn ever since he came and took control of what he's going to be doing with DC Studios and the DC Universe on film. I mean, between the stuff with Gal Gadot, which was I'm still confused of what's going on with that, and everything else with all the other actors from the DCEU that got let go, it's like, how do you have any faith or have any trust in whatever's going to be happening with DC movies? Like, it's just such a shame. And I'm hoping for the best. I'm having my fingers crossed that we get some better news sometime soon because this is just, it's all over the place. Now, the other thing about that I do want to talk about is a little bit of Star Wars stuff because we have the season finale of Ahsoka coming up. Now, if you guys didn't hear, if you didn't see, because I shared this a couple times on social media, a couple times I've already been on the IGN live spaces over on Twitter talking about Ahsoka with some of the IGN editors over there, some of the social media and community management people. We had these whole podcast-like conversations on spaces, which is over on Twitter. It's basically like you just have like a big like group meeting that everybody can listen to. I've been with them officially with IGN doing this stuff, and it's been cool. It's been fun. I'm hoping that they invite me again to talk about Ahsoka for the season finale because that's coming up in a few days. And I'm really excited to at least see where things go because the penultimate episode, the last one that just passed, like I spoke with them in the spaces, it wasn't all that great, but it wasn't terrible. It just leaves us in a really weird spot. And I'm hoping that whatever happens in this season finale is a huge banger. It's something that is absolutely going to blow the lid over things because I feel that Star Wars and really Disney Plus really needs a big W like that. A lot of people have loved Ahsoka for a couple of the episodes that have happened. I believe it's episode 4, 5, and 6 are like the best 3 episodes of the entire season. The show has gotten a lot of criticism for various reasons, which I feel are fair, but I also feel like there's been also this weird vibe lingering over Star Wars for quite some time where the show has gotten a lot of hatred because of those reasons that have nothing to do with it. But also I think that a lot of people are just starting to lose a lot of faith in the brand of Star Wars in general. And to shoot off of that, get to the stuff that I really wanted to talk about, was the stuff going on with the movies. Because we have the stuff with Donald Glover making a Lando movie now instead of a series. I've talked about that in previous episodes, and I still think it's a weird spot to even like have that project done. But also there's talk about both the James Mangold movie, which is the Dawn of the Jedi movie, and also the Taika Waititi movie not happening. Like, it's another confusing thing. It's like, what exactly is going on? What is it that we should be expecting? What exactly is it that we should be like bracing ourselves for? And why is it that it feels like there's so many projects that are just getting put out there in the ether, and yet there's no like real steam behind them? Those projects being the ones that I feel like are ones that not a lot of people are really asking for. Especially the only other one that I think is still kind of fair to say about this is the Rey movie. Whatever that Jedi-related movie is going to be, why even go back to that? I've said that plenty of times before, but it feels like, obviously, with all the stuff going on with Disney Plus, the Dave Filoni movie seems like that's the one that's almost guaranteed to get made. I would be very surprised if something happens with that film that it does not get made, because look at how much that Disney and really Lucasfilm has invested in all the stuff with the shows in Disney Plus, that they've even said in the past that all of that is going to combine into a movie at some point. So I feel like that's almost guaranteed. But the Rey movie seems like it's a vanity project, or it's a project for not only just Kathleen Kennedy, but for that era or that grouping of Lucasfilm to kind of like cap off everything. Because business-wise, like a lot of other people have said, there's almost no reason to go back to that character. No reason to go back to any of that stuff that happened with the sequel trilogy, outside of it being divisive and outside of it being some of the latest stuff that just simply did not work for a lot of people. But everything else going on with Disney Plus and the Mandoverse, as many people have said, that's the stuff that you really should be capitalizing. If they were really like, making some other decisions, like better decisions in my opinion, that Rey movie wouldn't be happening, and we either be getting more Disney Plus shows or another Mandoverse movie, like a full Ahsoka movie. Because I really feel that the Dave Filoni film, whatever that's going to be called, I think it's going to be called Heir to the Empire, because it looks like all signs are starting to point to that, and that came out at one point in a rumor. But it feels like between Thrawn coming back, the Rebels crew getting together, we still got uses of some of the original trilogy characters, especially in the last episode of Ahsoka, where we got to see C-3PO and a mention of Leia. Like, everything just seems like it's coming together in some way that just points in that direction. I would hope that's the case. Capitalize on the name. Like, even though it's not going to be the same as what the Legends book was with the original Thrawn trilogy, at least there's still some resonance and some excitement with what that can be. But everything else, this Dawn of the Jedi movie that nobody really asked for is just kind of there. The Taika Waititi movie is just there. And I don't even think the guy even finished writing it. Like, there was some joke I saw in some report that he joked about that he hasn't even really finished it. There's been other reports saying that he's turned in a couple drafts and all this stuff. But what is this movie? What exactly is it supposed to be? Why is it even existing? We know none of that. And I'm not trying to hate on Taika Waititi, because I think he did some good stuff with Mandalorian in some of his episodes, and he was the IG droid as the voice of it at one point. But, I don't think he has as much resonance for a lot of Hollywood projects now as he did after Thor: Love and Thunder. I know some people have mentioned that, but still, it's the truth. And with the way that he's talked about this Star Wars film, the way that other things have been going on with Lucasfilm where they've canceled other projects, especially projects that they made a big deal about, I have no faith in Taika Waititi's movie. If you can't even get Star Wars Rogue Squadron off the ground after announcing it and having a big presentation with Patty Jenkins, who was hot at the time when she got brought onto that project, if you can't even get that off the ground, how do you expect me to feel okay about whatever's going on with Taika Waititi? Like, real talk, when you start to think about it, it's like, come on now. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just very awkward territory right now. So either way, before I ramble on anymore, I have faith in whatever the series finale or the season finale of Ahsoka is going to be, whatever that Dave Filoni movie is going to be that comes afterwards, because it's still way down the line. And I'm hoping for better clarification with whatever else is going on within the Star Wars galaxy or the Star Wars universe from Lucasfilm. Hopefully we get some better news in the coming weeks. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys on this episode of the podcast. I hope you guys have been enjoying all the podcast episodes I've been uploading as the weeks go on. I have a lot of other stuff that I want to dive into. I'm hoping maybe at some point, if they end up doing some like updates and stuff for Mortal Kombat 1, I could do another video about it, maybe playing online with everybody, because I'm starting to see a couple cool people here and there jump online with Mortal Kombat 1, and I think I need to go over there and show them the ropes, if you know what I'm saying. I need to go over there and just beat them down in a few sets. Just show them who's top dog out here. You know what I'm saying? I kid, of course, but maybe I should do a full video of online matches again at some point with MK1. Besides that, if you haven't already, make sure you are following me on TikTok, because I've been uploading nearly every day on TikTok. Last night, as of this recording that I'm doing now for the podcast, I went and visited a cool spot over in Miami, Florida. It's called J. Wakefield Brewing, or J. Wakefield Brewery. It's a whole Star Wars themed brewery and bar spot that you just go to. They have alcoholic drinks, they have non-alcoholic drinks, they have food trucks there. But the cool part about it that I showed in my TikTok video is that it has two giant Star Wars murals and a whole bunch of Star Wars collectibles and artist renditions that they have at that spot. And it was really cool to see, because I've never been before. I've wanted to go for a long, long time, and I just never found the time to do so. And I finally was able to do so. I went out there on my own, and I had a great time. It was really cool. The drinks were good too. Little pricey, not gonna lie. They definitely hit the spot, because some of them are pretty high up with the alcohol content, but they're still pretty good. They had some game setups there with some NES classics, or not NES classics, Super Nintendo classics, I should say, that I believe were hacked. I'm pretty sure they hacked them and added more games than what was initially on there beforehand, but it was still cool to see. It was still cool to enjoy. They had a whole table with Han Solo and Carbonite that I thought was pretty dope. And again, everything was all Star Wars themed, and it was really cool to see. So if you want to check that out, you want to see exactly what I saw out there, go follow me on TikTok. I'll probably also put up a YouTube short on here as well at some point. But if you want like the first dibs on what that was, go follow me on TikTok, because there's a lot of other great content on there related to gaming and other stuff that I know you guys will get a kick out of. So check that out. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter as well, at JakeJamesLugo on Twitter. I have a whole bunch of other stuff I post up every single day that I know you'll love, as well as also gaming conversations I like to be a part of. I'm always sharing pictures and always sharing hot takes and thoughts there. So make sure you guys get on there, interact with me, let me know what's up, and also tell me what topics you guys want me to discuss on the podcast, or any other content or other games you want me to tackle. One other thing I should say before I let you guys go, I am going to be doing some stuff with Spider-Man 2 coming up in the next couple weeks. I did not get the game early because there's a lot of places that got this game super, super early. Like they got this like just before October started type of early, which is cool, but I'm probably going to end up getting the game alongside all of you guys on PlayStation 5 around release time. So be on the lookout for that. I'll probably be playing it, probably be writing about it as well, and it should be dope. So anyway, with all that being said, I will talk to all of you guys again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.